And now, from the Florida Today Information Center, this is the Florida Today Show. Fellsmere can now be considered Florida's pachyderm paradise. Brevard County recognizes the fallen through several Memorial Day events, and we meet a woman who just celebrated her 108th birthday. Hello, Space Coast, and welcome to the Florida Today Show. I'm Tim Walters. Today is Sunday, June 2nd. We've got a lot on tap today, so let's not waste any time. Last year, Wildlife Group announced it would be constructing a facility in Fellsmere that eventually would house more than 30 elephants. The first round of 4 residents recently moved into their new home at the National Elephant Center. The family group includes 2 adult females and 2 young males. The elephants were able to gallivant among citrus groves at the professional care facility located on 225 acres of leased farmland near the Blue Cypress Conservation Area in Indian River County. Let's take a look.
We've just opened and received our first elephants a week ago. We're very excited. We have 4 animals, 2 adult females and 2 calves, and it's a family unit, and they're just getting adapted to their new home. The National Elephant Center is intended to be a support facility to provide options for elephants that need a home, elephants that have facilities that may be under renovation and need a place to stay for a while, elephants that may be in transition, or elephants who are coming from a facility and they're going to be here for the rest of their lives. So we're providing an option for elephants that doesn't exist today. Our facility is not open to the public. It's not been intended for that purpose. It's really for the benefit and long-term health and welfare of elephants. It will be a training facility for veterinarians and elephant keepers, but it's not going to be open to the public in general. We will do special tours. We will do educational programming. We will do donor tours and member tours. Eventually, down the road, we're going to build an education center that will be right next to our facility, and that way we'll have classrooms for kids to come and an observation area where they can look over into the elephant facility. We are a nonprofit organization, and we do hope to expand. We're using about 25 acres of our total 225 acres here on the site. So we will be fundraising in the future to expand our programs, to expand the habitats for the elephants, and to make a better life so elephants have a future here in North America and in the world.
Last week, many celebrated Memorial Day by hosting barbecues, spending time with family and loved ones, and perhaps watching some local parades. But one local enlisted man took it upon himself to remind people in the Southern Beaches area what Memorial Day is truly about.
Basically, I came out here to Corporal Dustin Syringe's sign and basically stood at parade rest, also saluted the sign. Basically just showing my respect for him, his sacrifice for his country, and you know, just the appreciation that military have for their own.
Okay. Did you know him?
I did not know him, no.
What do you hope that people took out of it when they saw you standing here?
Just kind of a realization of what Memorial Day truly is about, what we are out here for, and what we do for our country day to day. And you know, to enjoy ourselves at our cookouts and our trips to the beach, but to also keep in mind what Memorial Day truly is about.
The fact that he stood on A1A in the heat, you know, in his uniform, and didn't even know my son. And my biggest fear has always been that my son would someday be forgotten. 8 years later, town of Indian Harbor Beach erected signs, you know, dedicating a part of the highway to him. And here is now somebody standing in front of his sign making sure that he and all the other fallen have not been forgotten. And it just shows me that, you know, I think my son will always be remembered with that sign being there and people like Shane that didn't even know my son. So very impactful, very powerful, and I'm so sorry that I didn't know anything about it and I didn't see him and be able to talk to him.
We now meet a woman who spoke at Riverfront Park in Cocoa on Memorial Day about the sacrifice her son gave for our country.
He was just very active, even at a really young age, you know, when he was a toddler, just climbing onto everything. And, you know, if we were at a playground, he'd be going up to the highest bars and swinging around, and he was a natural athlete. Ron was really interested in history. he did a lot of reading, and I'd say as far as like military history, he was most interested in World War II. He was, I'm thinking maybe about 12 or 14 when Saving Private Ryan came out, and he just loved that movie. He was pretty knowledgeable about history. He was good at languages also, and I remember when he was in like 7th or 8th grade, they were studying World War II in his class. And he'd come home making fun of the German pronunciations that other students had for people like Goebbels or some of the German terminology, because Rob was just a natural with languages. He went into a program in the military called 18X, and it's where new recruits, once they finish basic training, they can try to get into special forces. Because like the normal course is, you're in regular infantry for, like a 3-year enlistment or something, and then you try to get into special forces. But Rob really, wanted to be challenged. He didn't want to do just the regular stuff. He had a pretty high opinion of his abilities also. He really wanted to do the special forces. So he went into that. He didn't have, a stint like with the regular army at all. He just, he passed the qualifications testing for going into the special forces. And well, there was a firefight. They were in a valley. Really, special forces had the low ground and the enemy had the high ground, and these were well-trained guys. A lot of times if the firefight started up, the bad guys would run away pretty quickly because they weren't, generally well-trained. He was able to get cover pretty soon after the firefight started, but the way the valley was, and there was like just one spot where they could leave. They were under overwhelming fire. They really needed someone out front to provide protective cover. And his captain got shot through the chest, and his lungs started collapsing. And that's when Rob really stayed out at that point. He got hit twice. The first time even though it was a serious wound, he just ignored it and he continued firing at the enemy, and he had hand grenades that he was throwing too. But then the second time, he went pretty quickly after that. But it was, I feel very proud of him, and I guess, I don't know, the main feeling is really sort of one of the satisfaction. Doesn't really sound like, I don't know, a strong enough word in a way, but, just he got recognized for what he did. He received proper recognition, and we're just glad that that happened.
Have you ever uttered the expression, "if I live to be 100"? Well, columnist Britt Kennerly and photographer Malcolm Denemark recently spent some time with a Cocoa woman who turned 108 last week. She was even alive last time the Chicago Cubs won the World Series.
Tell me one of your first memories of your great-grandma, something that was influential, you think, in your later life.
First memories. She used to get down on the floor and play with us when we were little. And when I was born, she was in her 80s. So at 80-something, she was sitting down on the floor playing games with us in the den. So that's probably one of the most memorable memories we have of her.
And tell me a little bit about her personality.
She's caring. She'll give you her last. She is stubborn, but that's one of the better qualities about her, because she's not just going to let anything happen, especially with her family. She's gone to the bat for us all the time for our whole lives. So she's just awesome. I've never, nobody can say that they have 100-and-anything-year-old grandmother who can still sit up and talk with you and tell jokes and recall things. So, she's just awesome all around. Although my mother had us at home and she raised us, she was just as big a part in our upbringing as my mother and father. So just the fact that so many people came through this house, traveling or anything like that, and she fed them, she let them sleep, gave them money if they needed it. So everybody in Cocoa knows Maddie Cicero, just for that. Yeah, where were you born?
Oh, Morgan, Georgia, Calhoun County.
And how was growing up there?
Huh?
How was growing up there?
Uh-huh.
It was all right?
Yeah.
How many brothers and sisters did you have?
I had 6. My mom had 12 children.
Yes.
She has 6.
What number were you?
6.
You was number 6?
Number 5.
You was number 5, right.
5. I was number 5 shy.
Now, how old were you when you started having your children? When did you get married?
How old were you when you got married?
She was 16.
16?
I lived with him 65 years.
65.
And the Lord took him.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he took my daddy.
Your husband.
My husband. Took him with. He took my dad too.
Yeah.
But he ain't come out and get me yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
We often hear about the growing problem of bullying among kids in school. But there's another group where you might be surprised to find bullies and victims of bullying, and that's among senior citizens. Reporter Britt Kennerly has more.
Gossiping, excluding others from games or the lunch table, shoving and name-calling. No, we're not talking about bullying among children. These bullies are seniors in their 60s, 70s, and beyond, and it's happening at senior living facilities and other places where older people congregate. It's a growing, graying problem nationwide. But not until recently have gerontology experts and facility management started to address a phenomenon they say is tied to a sense of loss and independence. Some facilities, including Grand Villa of Melbourne, introduce residents of like interest to each other. Keeping them active can fill the void left by a change in lifestyle, they say.
I find it very important to keep them stimulated, because the more stimulation they get here, the less they have time to have any problems with anybody. They get along quite well once they're in that setting. We all discuss things, we talk it out, and it works well.
They also look at medical factors that could cause problems or change a resident's attitude.
Some of the factors that could happen where they have a change of mental status, maybe possibly a change of medication. These are the 2 main things that a resident could become aggressive.
Jack McDowell has made the adjustment to assisted living with help from Grand Villa staff and other residents.
How do you adjust to senior living? Initially when I got here, I said, well, what am I going to do now? And they set me at a table with a couple of other gentlemen, and we get involved with various and sundry things. We're waiting for the weather to come in real strong, heat up the pool so we can go swimming, water walking, exercising in the water. And it's just being active, and they take us out, the activities director said in her speak that we go out.
Pam Rice of Aging Matters in Brevard sees tension at times between seniors eating at local seniors at lunch sites.
Sometimes verbal aggression, you know, when you're dealing with different types of personality, you know, that can happen. I would say a site manager would try to deflect the situation, try to, you know, be reassuring, calm both the people down, and if there was a problem, you know, they would inform me. I would talk to the clients also if I needed to.
Linda Wells of Aging Matters oversees senior nutrition programs in Brevard, including places where lunch is served to hundreds of seniors daily. Aging Matters staff, she said, has been trained to watch for any signs of bullying or aggression.
We have had 2 therapists from Wusthof Hospital come and provide training on that very issue of handling seniors or responding to seniors who have aggressive behavior in a group setting, and I find that was very helpful. They provided techniques to, first of all, prevent those kinds of issues, but if that's not possible, then they gave us recommendations on how to approach seniors and try to deflect any kind of tense situations that may occur.
Reporting for Florida Today, I'm Britt Kennerly.
More than 700 college students representing 50 universities in 8 countries came to Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex last week to face off in the 4th annual Lunabotics mining competition. Basically, the event brings some of the brightest young minds together for a common purpose: to discover a way to mine oxygen and water from soil found on celestial bodies. And they do it by building robots.
Well, we're running the 4th annual NASA Lunabotics Regolith Mining Competition. It's a competition with 50 universities from 8 countries, over 700 students, and their task is to build a robot which mines the soil on another planetary surface. For example, on an asteroid or Mars or even the moon. So what we're trying to do is mine the soil, because 42% of the soil is oxygen. If we can mine the soil at the destination, then we don't have to bring the oxygen or the metals or any other materials with us. We can live off the land. What our competitors are finding is that things that they think that work because they've tested them in sand don't actually work when they get to Kennedy Space Center, because the regolith, or the soil that we're using, the simulated planetary soil, which is called regolith, behaves differently than sand does. And so our competitors are having a lot of challenges dealing with this regolith material. About half of them can't even drive. That's how difficult it is. We have a variety of prizes. Our one category is for mining, so if they mine regolith, they can win a prize. Then we have a competition for systems engineering, where they write a systems engineering paper. There's another prize for that, and there's also a prize for outreach, where they engage local elementary schools and other community elements. But the top prize is the Joe Cosmo Award for Excellence, which is a combination of all the points. If you win the Joe Cosmo Award for Excellence, then you win $5,000. And so that's the top prize. You also can come to Kennedy Space Center to watch a launch. And then the second prize is less. It's $3,000, and then there's third place as well.
Well, last week we told you how brown algae is affecting the Indian River Lagoon in northern parts of the county. Now it looks as though the lagoon may get a transplant. Water managers plan to harvest seagrass from healthier spots of the lagoon to transplant to bald spots made barren by years of algae blooms. The St. Johns River Water Management District has applied for a federal permit to transplant seagrass to 30 sites in the lagoon and Banana River. The public has until June 12th to comment on the project before the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers decides whether to permit the experiment. The district hopes to transplant the grasses this summer.
The Indian River Lagoon needs a transplant. Severe algae blooms over the past few years have rendered many spots of the estuary barren of its most ecologically important plant. So water managers plan to harvest seagrass from healthier spots of the lagoon to transplant to the bald spots. The St. Johns River Water Management District has applied for a federal permit to transplant seagrass to 30 sites in the lagoon and the Banana River. The sites range from Merritt Island National Wildlife Refuge to Titusville all the way to Vero Beach. The district hopes to transplant the grasses this summer. Biologists want to restore some of the almost 74 square miles of seagrass lost since 2009, much of it clouded out by algae blooms. Seagrass provides prime habitat and food for manatees and other marine life and is considered a key barometer of the estuary's overall health. According to the Corps' public notice, seagrass would be harvested with hand tools only, no machinery, and manually installed at the recipient study sites. The project may affect, but is not likely to adversely affect the West Indian manatee, according to the Corps, and also would impact about an acre of lagoon bottom. The planned cost for the 3-year transplant project is $85,000. The lagoon has undergone severe seagrass loss in the past 2 years. Biologists are still trying to figure out what's killed hundreds of pelicans, dolphins, and manatees over the past year.
We round out this week's show with a visit from our entertainment cast. While we may be entering the so-called summer doldrums, there's always something to do in Brevard County, including 2 hot ticket shows going on sale at the King Center. Here's Susie Fleming-Leonard and Pam Harbaugh to tell you what to look forward to heading into the weekend.
Hi, I'm Susie Fleming-Leonard.
And I'm Pam Harbaugh.
We're here with your entertainment update. Okay, Pam, first thing I want to talk about. It's not something that's coming up this weekend, but you have to start making plans now because tickets go on sale.
What is it?
Well, Kevin James.
I
coming
love
to the
him.
King Center.
King of Queens.
Isn't he adorable?
He is adorable. If he's in movies also, what's he going to do at the King Center?
Well, he's going to be doing a stand-up comedy show at the King Center.
Well, isn't that something?
It is. It's going to be on August 22nd, but tickets go on sale Friday.
I wish there were some other stand-up comics that were coming to the King Center.
Well, as luck would have it, another one of my favorite comics is coming to the King Center, David Sedaris.
Oh, how much do we love him?
Everybody talks about how he's known for the book Me Talk Pretty One Day.
Yes, and I've also listened to a number of the recordings.
Yes, I love, more than Me Talk Pretty One Day, I love the elf story. Have you ever heard his elf story about being an elf at Macy's at Christmas?
No, but he would make a perfect elf at Macy's.
Well, apparently he wasn't such a good elf.
Oh, because he's a little... has an attitude.
He's not quite as jolly, I guess, as an elf should be.
A cynical elf.
He was kind of a cynical elf. But anyway, Google that. Go listen to it.
Okay.
David Sedaris will be at the King Center on October 27th. So if you want to see either of these
I am
shows,
definitely getting tickets for those two. They sound like a lot of fun.
They do. And be in the fall, we'll be at that point where we're needing something to giggle about.
Something to giggle about because it will be the dog days by then, I think.
Also, talk a little bit about what's going on next weekend. One of my favorite charity events is coming up on Friday, the 7th, and that is the Buckaroo Ball. Benefits Harmony Farms, which is a horseback riding, therapeutic horseback riding organization. But at the Buckaroo Ball, they have, it's just a lot of fun to begin with, but a couple of years they've asked me to be a celebrity cowpoke, which has meant that I have had to put on this horse suit.
I thought you were, no, I thought they were going to make you ride around like Dale Evans or something.
No, you put on this
thing. No.
I don't know, but last year they had us all go, all the celebrity cowpokes, they had us all go and get dressed, but then for some reason, it took us less time to get dressed. We were at this hotel. So we're all back. It's me and Donna Scottum from Space Coast Living and Carol Craig and some of the TV guys. And we're all back there and we're dressed and they're not ready for us to come out yet. So Carol Craig was in the gym at this hotel in this horse costume walking on the treadmill. It was,
oh my God, that's got to be hysterical.
Carol
Craig has got such a great sense of humor.
Yes, she does. So
I like
that's my big memory. This year, though, it's going to be moved to a new venue.
You said moved.
Moved.
She said moved.
For cowpoke. It's going to be at the County Line Saloon. Another thing going on this weekend, we've got the Barbecue and Blues Festival. That's going to be Friday and Saturday in Cocoa Village.
But barbecue doesn't always make you blue. It makes you happy, doesn't it?
Well, if you get too happy with the barbecue, then you can go listen to the music, which will make you blue.
You can sing the blues about how much food you ate at the barbecue.
Exactly. I think that's a good plan.
Maybe that's it.
That's a very good plan. A couple of dance performances. The Dusick Dance Studio is going to be having their annual recital. That is the Malt Shop Years. That's going to be June 7th and 8th at Merritt Island High School. And Galmont Ballet will be presenting their summer showcase. That's going to be June 8th at the King Center. Anything else we need to talk about?
No, I just have to get my tickets for the David Sedaris and the Kevin James.
One other quick thing, there's going to be a fundraiser called All Dogs Go to Broadway. That's going to be June 8th at Titusville Playhouse. It's kind of a Broadway theater review where they're going to be doing a lot of music, and it's a dinner theater.
Are you going to go dressed up as a dog to that?
No.
No.
No, I don't think so.
I just want to find out what more things Susie Fleming Leonard is.
I don't think
other
so,
iterations.
But that's going to be June 8th at the Emma Parish Theater, and that benefits the SPCA of North Brevard. So, isn't that sweet?
That's very sweet.
And I guess I should let you go so you can go get your tickets, shouldn't I?
I need to get my tickets.
You need to get your tickets.
Yes, right now. I've got a dedicated line to the King Center box office.
Well, I won't hold you here any longer. We hope that you have a great week and a really fun and entertaining weekend.
Well, that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Florida Today Show. Be sure to tune in next week for all the latest headlines in news, space, sports, and so much more. Until then, I'm Tim Walters. I thank you so much for your viewership and dedication, and we'll see you next Sunday.